I'm Bill Hemmer, live here in America's Newsroom. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Morning, everybody. I'm Megan Kelly. Well, hearings march forward on Capitol Hill today on nationalizing America's health care system. The legislation will likely weigh in at more than 1,000 pages. And only a few staffers you have never heard of will actually read it. Unless a conservative group called Let Freedom Ring has its way. You see, it has a novel idea. It wants lawmakers to actually read the bill, and all bills, asking members of Congress now to sign a pledge saying they will do just that. So how's that going? Colin Hanna is the president of Let Freedom Ring. He's my guest now. Hi, Colin.
Good morning, Megan.
It's so innovative. It's brilliant. The lawmakers actually reading the law. I don't know where you come up with this stuff, Colin, but it's fantastic.
I think the idea actually originated with the Constitution, Megan.
Interesting. You know, nice of you to give credit where credit is due. All right, so you sent this pledge to every member of Congress, to the House members, to the Senate members, saying, could you please just promise that you will personally read the bill? Could you not dole this off on some staffer? Could you do that? And could you give the American people a decent amount of time to actually review it for themselves before it becomes law? Who, if anyone, has said yes?
We have over half a dozen signers. We're not making any of them public at the moment, Megan, because they've just come back from recess. I want to give everyone 2 full weeks in which to consider whether or not to sign this. And then effective the week of the 20th, we're going to go public with who has signed, who has refused to sign, and who hasn't responded.
Is it bipartisan? Have you had yeses from both Democrats and Republicans?
I have not so far, but I hope to.
Yeah, because we know some of the names, not from you, but they've been leaked. And according to all my information, they're all Republicans so far who have said they'll read these bills, which is ironic because both houses of Congress are controlled by Democrats. So you need to get some Democrats on board with your pledge.
I agree totally.
So far, I'll tell you this, and you may be aware, Steny Hoyer, who's the House Majority Leader, laughed at you. He laughed at you and said, and I quote, if every member pledged to not vote for a bill if they hadn't read it in its entirety, I think we'd have very few votes.
Well, I think that's true, but when you think about it, his laughter, cynical though it may be, is really directed at the American people. The people, Megan, particularly after what happened with the stimulus bill and the climate change bill, are sick and tired of hearing about these enormous pieces of legislation being voted on by their elected representatives who don't know, in fact, what's in those bills. And that's why we drafted this pledge very narrowly. It relates to the health care bill. It says 2 things. One, that the signer will not vote for it without having read it. And 2, that it should be available on the internet for the American public and the media to see for 72 hours. That's pretty fundamental. That's not asking too much. I think that's expecting what Americans overwhelmingly expect. And when Congressman Hoyer snickers, I think he does so at his own political peril.
Well, that was the House Majority Leader, Democrat Steny Hoyer. Here is what the House Minority Leader, John Boehner, had to say about the problem.
Here we are with 1,100 pages. 1,100 pages not one member of this body has read. Not one. There may be some staffer over in the Appropriations Committee that read all of this last night. I don't know how you could read 1,100 pages between midnight and now. Not one member's read this. What happened to the promise that we're going to let the American people see what's in this bill for 48 hours? But nope, we don't have time to do that.
You can see he recognizes the problem. Now, what they say, Colin, not Boehner, but what others who are defending they're not reading these bills say is, well, we got staffers. The staffers read it. They brief the members. Why isn't that good enough?
Because on a bill of this significance, I think this is a bill that could conceivably restructure 17% of our entire economy.
Meaning health care reform.
I think it's exactly. Thank you. I think it's important that the member take a little extra diligence, and that's all that we're asking for, that the member at least read through once everything that's in there. Among other things, that'll protect the member, Megan, from the kinds of surprises that sometimes surface when little favorite dealings that are inserted by lobbyists and whatnot come to light. It's good to know those ahead of time and get them out of there.
You know, this has been raised before, not by a group like yours, not in this manner, but a few years ago, back in 2007, Senator Jim DeMint, who, by the way, we're told is one of your yeses, he had a fight with Senate Majority Leader Dick Durbin of Illinois, a Democrat, and he said, look, you just released a 3,400-page omnibus bill on a Sunday night, and you want to vote on this thing on Tuesday. It is 3,400 pages. We object. And Dick Durbin said, well, for 46 hours and 8 minutes, you had an opportunity to go to the internet and see the bill in its entirety with your staff. And too bad if you didn't do it. Welcome to the world of the internet. Is that enough?
We've asked for 72 in this pledge. I think it's important that there be time for the citizens in general, for bloggers, for media people, for analysts to have a chance to see what's in there. Inevitably, these surprises surface. We should know about them beforehand.
Colin, do you want 72 hours for public review? Ironically, you find some support from the top Democrat in this country, President Barack Obama, who made a promise along these lines while he was on the campaign trail, did he not?
He did. He actually promised that he would not sign a bill that arrived on his desk until it had been posted for 5 days, which of course is 48 hours longer than we're speaking about. This is earlier in the process. Our pledge addresses the actual vote on the bill. His relates to signing a bill that has been sent to him by the Congress.
All right. So now when you get the yeses and the nos, or you get ignored, which is probably likely from a lot of these folks, will you come back and will you name names? We want to know. We want to know who has refused to read the legislation that they're going to vote on. Will you come back and tell us?
I will indeed. That sounds like an invitation. I look forward to responding.
Absolutely. We will have you on, and as John McCain would say, you will know their names right here. Thank you so much, Colin.
You got it.
All the best.
What was the next line after that? You will know their names, and I will make them famous.
Oh, yeah, make them famous. Good.
Thank
Good.
you, Senator. Novel idea, by the way, Cal. Talking about Congress, Republicans responding to the Democrats' new 60-vote filibuster-proof majority in the Senate.